All right, and now we move on to the main card in the UFC's lightweight division. You've got a battle between the UFC veteran. He's fought the who's who. He's got wins over the likes of Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, wobbled Habib Nurmagomedov on the feet, almost beat Josh Emmett at a 3-rounder at 145. He's got wins over Andre Feely, but he's got a lot of losses, and most of those losses come in fights where he had the opponent hurt, he was ahead on the scorecards, and he just made a bad decision and end up, costing himself the fight. That comes in the form of Michael the Menace Johnson, who comes in with a record of 21 victories and 17 defeats. He was on the season of The Ultimate Fighter with Team GSP and Team Koscheck. He was a Team GSP guy, but he ended up losing the finale, I believe, to Jonathan Brookins. Brookins isn't around anymore. I'm not really sure what he's doing, but Michael Johnson didn't win the Ultimate Fighter, but after the Ultimate Fighter, he came out like a house of fire, knockouts over Gleison Tebow, knockout over Danny Castillo. Like I said, a victory over Edson Barbosa, victory over. So he's got wins over Edson Barbosa, Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier. He's got wins over some of the best, and he's hurt guys and wobbled guys like Justin Gaethje, wobbled Habib in their fight. I don't care what anybody said. He definitely hurt Habib with that combo that he threw. Almost beat Josh Emmett. I mean, he's lost some fights he shouldn't have lost, like the fights against Stevie Ray and a couple other ones where he just hurt the guy, was beating the crap out of him, and, gave up a submission. Same with Darren Elkins. That's another fight. He wins these fights until he doesn't, and he costs himself the fight. The fight IQ is there when it comes to the striking, the footwork, the speed. It's all there, but he just makes some bad decisions sometimes. 21-17 overall, going up against a UFC newcomer who had a firefight in his UFC debut against Brad Quake Riddell and Jamie Mullarkey. Mullarkey was actually training with Volkanovski, I believe, in the lead up to his fight against Chan Sung Jung, and I believe the lead up to the fight against Ortega. He might still be training out at City Kickboxing, but I'm not 100%. But he is working out there with the guys like Volkanovski, and it might actually be freestyle fighting gym that Jamie Mullarkey trains at. I actually would like to look that up. It might not be City Kickboxing, because even though Volkanovski is always aligned with City Kickboxing, he mainly comes from Team Freestyle Fighting Gym. So let me check this out. Let's see. Central Coast, South Wales, 14-5. Magnus Martial Arts. You know what? It doesn't give me. Let's see. Yeah, Freestyle Fighting Gym. Yeah, so he's training at a Freestyle Fighting Gym, and he's coming off of a loss, I believe, in his last fight to Jalen Turner, but Turner just beat Brad Riddell in 58 seconds with that mounted guillotine at UFC 276, and Riddell and Mullarkey had a crazy fight in both of their UFC debuts where Riddell came out on top via decision. So I think that's kind of interesting how they both suffered losses to the same guys and they fought each other in their UFC debut. That's a little bit interesting to me, but we'll look at Jamie Mullarkey's record. Before we do, though, let me tell you, Michael Johnson is coming off of that knockout victory over Alan Patrick. Now, Alan Patrick is, over the hill. He's an older guy, but he had some good wins in his UFC career. But it was definitely a sort of a favorable matchup there for Michael Johnson. But before that win, he was coming off 4 losses to Josh Emmett via KO, Stevie Ray via decision, Thiago Moises via submission due to a heel hook where he was piecing him up on the feet, a decision loss to Clay Guida where he just looked terrible. That was in February 2021. But he didn't come back till almost a year later in May of 2022. So he definitely adopted some new techniques, and I feel like he came back rejuvenated. Before that, he had a win over Andre Feely via decision and a win over the GOAT in Artem Lobov via decision. And then he had a 3-loss streak before that, a submission loss to Darren Elkins where he was piecing him up, a TKO loss to Justin Gaethje in one of the best fights of all time at UFC, the Ultimate Fighter 25 finale. That was July 7, 2017. And then that Kimura submission to Habib. And then before the Poirier fight, he had a loss to Nate Diaz and Beneil Dariush. And then prior to that, he had a decision victory over Edson Barbosa, a decision over Melvin Gillard, a KO over Gleison Tebow, a decision over Joe Lozon. Losses to Miles Jury, a submission loss to Reza Madadi, and then a KO over Danny Castillo, a decision over Tony Ferguson, a decision over Shane Roller. He's had some crazy wins, but overall, he's got 20 victories, 17 losses. He is kind of at that journeyman, UFC veteran type of stage, but he just can never put it together. He'll put it together for a couple fights, and then he'll just end up shit in the bed, and he'll make some bad decisions. And it's really sad because I'm a huge Michael Johnson fan. I'm a huge fan of the Menace. He's got amazing speed. He's got great power, but it's the decision making that really costs him these fights. Out of his losses, he's only been KO'd twice. Once to Josh Emmett and once to Justin Gaethje, who are two of the hardest hitters in MMA. He's been submitted 9 times and then lost via decision 6 times. When it comes to the wins, 9 wins out of 20 by KO, 2 by submission, and 9 by decision. Kind of an all-around, well-rounded fighter, either mostly getting the knockout or going to the judges' scorecards. When it comes to the losses, a lot of them coming by way of submission. Now, does Jamie Mullarkey have the ability to submit a guy like Michael Johnson? I do think it's a possibility. I think that Jamie Mullarkey could potentially hurt him on the feet, have Johnson shoot a sloppy takedown and maybe open up his back, jump on his back, get a rear naked choke. I mean, it definitely is possible. He's got 3 submission victories and 10 wins coming by way of KO out of 14 victories. 14-5 overall, 10 KOs, 3 submissions, and 1 decisions. Out of his 5 losses, 3 come by way of KO, no submission losses, and 2 by decision. Honestly, this is a very tough fight to call. I think a lot of people are going to side with Jamie Mullarkey because he does have great striking. He's got a good jab, a good 1-2. He likes to, I kind of would like classify him as a bob and weave fighter. A lot of the time, his striking and his success is coming off that 1-2 roll underneath into the left hook. Roll to his right, land the right hand, roll right hand, roll to his left, the left hook, 1-2, roll to his left, the left hook, 1-2, uppercut, left hook, roll, boom, power in his left hook. It's a lot of bop, 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 boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, 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 boom, bop, 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 boom, boom, boom. That's how Jamie Mullarkey fights. Touch, 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 rip, touch, 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 rip, touch, rip, rip, touch, rip, rip, stuff like that. It's bop, bop, boom, bop, 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 boom, 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 boom. Like it's touch, 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 rip, 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 touch, 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 rip, rip. He's kind of a touch 'em up fighter. I guess we can go with the name of the podcast, and it does work against a lot of guys. I do think that the volume of Mullarkey can be a problem for Michael Johnson the longer the fight goes. And I'm not surprised that people are picking Mullarkey in this spot because of the track record of a Michael Johnson. He is coming off that KO victory, but it's over. Alan Patrick, who's like 42 years old, he's kind of over the hill, and I understand, but I do think that the speed and the veteran experience of Michael Johnson is going to be a big problem here for Mullarkey. I do think the left hook to the body, the shots up top of Mullarkey, the combinations and the power he has in that left hook and that left shot to the body, I think he can drain the life out of Michael Johnson, especially with that body shot. And then coming up top as he drops his hands with that left hook. He's got a clean left hook. He knows how to find the tip of the chin. And if he lands on the chin of Michael Johnson, even with the beard that he has, I do think that he can hurt him because we've seen Michael Johnson get hurt more and more in his fights recently. But I feel like the speed of Michael Johnson is going to be a problem because if you watch the fight with Jamie Mullarkey and Devontae Smith, where Mullarkey did win, he hurt him with a body shot, crumbled him in a fight that was kind of back and forth. Devontae Smith's speed was a big problem for Mullarkey. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, the bop, 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 bop. When he put those combinations together with the speed, he was able to hurt Mullarkey. He was able to wobble him. He was able to get him up against the cage. But Mullarkey was tough. Mullarkey was able to weather the storm and come back. I think the speed of Michael Johnson is a different level from a Devontae Smith. The power that Michael Johnson possesses is different from a Devontae Smith. Even though Devontae has good speed and power, I think Michael Johnson, even at this point of his career with all these losses, he still has the power to shut anyone's lights out. And he's got some of the quickest hands in that lightweight division. You even saw the speed translate at 45. He looked faster. I think the speed of Johnson's going to be a big problem. The straight left, the right hook, that 4-punch combination he landed on Patrick. Body, body, head, head. Body, body, head, head. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. When he landed those combinations, he hurt Alan Patrick. I think those combinations do have the ability to hurt a Jamie Mullarkey. We've seen him get cracked on the chin. We've seen him get hurt. He can survive. He does have good surviving ability, but I think Michael Johnson gets him here. I know it's always hard siding with Michael Johnson because of how inconsistently consistent he is, but I got to go with the Menace here. I'm going to go with the Menace to go on a 2-fight win streak for the first time since when was the last time he went on a 2-fight win streak? We'll check it out right here. The last time Michael Johnson went on a 2-fight win streak was in 2018 with wins over Artem Lobov and Andre Fili. So can he go on a 2-fight win streak for the first time in over 4 years or almost 4 years? I think he does. I'm going to side with the Menace here, Michael Johnson. I think the speed, the straight left, and the combination ability paired with the footwork that he has, I think the footwork is kind of a wash. And, Mullarkey is good at cutting you off, good with the pity pat, and good at setting up his shots off that bob and weave style. But I think the speed and power of Michael Johnson is going to be too much. And, he's going to get caught on counters. He's going to be there with his head on the center line getting caught by Michael Johnson. And I think Johnson's going to crack that chin of Jamie Mullarkey. He's going to drop him and jump on him. I think he gets back-to-back finishes. So I'm going to go with Michael the Menace Johnson to defeat Jamie Mullarkey via I'm going to go with a second-round knockout victory. You know what? No, I always go with second round. I'm changing it up. I'm switching it up. I'm going first round for the Menace. I think he comes back in style here. It's hard to pick him because he is so inconsistent. He has shown some issues with his chin recently. He did get hurt by Clay Guida. That fight does worry me, but I think he's going to come in rejuvenated here. I think that year off going into the Patrick fight really was a good thing for Michael Johnson, and I'm going to go with a first-round TKO. I think that speed's going to catch Mullarkey early. He's going to hurt him. He's going to jump on him, and he's going to swarm him. So Michael the Menace Johnson to defeat Jamie Mullarkey via first-round TKO victory. Now, when you look at the odds for the fight, Michael Johnson's a plus 200 underdog to Jamie Mullarkey. Now, this is a fight. I said Michael Johnson is the most inconsistent fighter on the roster. So even with that plus 200 tag, it's not necessarily the best option. I think if you're going to play Johnson, play him straight up. Or if you're feeling froggy, you can put him in a parlay. I have Johnson in a couple of my parlays for this week, but it's not the best place to place a bet. And I think it's better to just stay away from it. I think if you're going to play it, maybe you wait until see what the prop is on fight doesn't go the distance and play that. Because you're probably going to get a little bit of minus, but it's not going to be crazy. So I think whatever the prop is for fight doesn't go the distance, you play that this week and stay away from either side, even with the plus 200. I think this fight should be favored at like minus 190 to plus 160. I mean, Mullarkey's been good in the UFC, but I don't think he's that much better than Johnson, and I think the line is extremely wide here. If you want to play Johnson, go ahead. I'm playing him. I have him in, like I said, I think I have him in one parlay, but I'm going to side with Johnson. But honestly, the best play for this is fight doesn't go the distance. Wait for the line to come out and play the fight doesn't go the distance if it's not a crazy favorite spot. But that's what I would play for this fight coming up.